pursuit of it. So the reason why we are here today is because we do not just to talk about wealth. We do not just to talk about money as in the sense we know it, but to dig deeper. Because it is all of these things that we are going to talk about today that sets the right foundation for what you need to know about money. Okay. And so the title says the Money Makeover Challenge. We certainly know a lot of things about money. I know a ton of things about money. You know a ton of things about money. But there are many things that we need to discard, and there are many things that we need to pick up. And that is why we are here. Further, we want to kind of have a parallel between our personal life and our business life. For example, if you're a wasteful person in your personal finance, chances are high that you'll be a wasteful person in business. But if you're a very prudent person in your personal life, the chances are high that you'll be prudent too as well. I don't know if you follow the startup world, but you certainly see the way businesses are run from purely from the leadership. If they have this fiscal responsibility, there's a way they manage other people's money. But if they don't, we certainly see how those companies run their business. So the whole goal, the overarching goal for today is not for us to just discuss money like some imaginary concept, but to bring it home and look at the mindset and meaning and habits that helps drive financial success. Oops. Okay, I'm trying to. Okay, yeah. So today we will talk about the psychology of money. I want to prod us. I want to poke us. I want to. I would really encourage us to participate. Because it'd be great if I knew what you were thinking, right? So today I want to ask us some very important questions and see if we can understand what money truly means, especially in this 21st. Are we in this 21st century or are we in the 22nd already? I think we're in the 21st. I'm not sure. Especially in this century, right? We want to know what money means. Then we would look at personal finance, personal financial planning and debt management strategies. And then in the next session, we would look at business finance planning. So today it's going to be personal because, like I said earlier, your habit in your personal finance, you would most likely extend it, import it to your business life. Okay, the psychology of money. I want to quickly ask us a question, and I would like us to really respond. So this is the time for us to unmute ourselves. Anything at all. There is no right answer. There is no wrong answer. I will tell you my own. I would like to hear from you as well. So when you hear money, what is the one word that comes to your mind? If I say money, if I say Tayo, let's talk about money. If I say Gbemi, let's talk about money. If I say Ifeoluwa Daniels, let's talk about money. Let me call other people. If I say Obona, let's talk about money. What is the one thing that jumps right into your head subconsciously? I want to start from that. Who is going to lead? We started.
I think from this search, you may say wealth creation, we have comfort.
Comfort. Yeah, I think Obona is raising. I'm not sure if it's how he is and
Freedom,
freedom.
Choices.
Choices.
choices,
Great. Any other person?
cash,
Cash.
Wealth.
Now let me tell you mine. Well,
Yeah,
great.
Yes.
Great. Great. Okay, if there is no other person. Sorry?
I think someone needs to be muted, please.
Okay, let me tell you, because I'm also part of this exercise. Now, when I think about money, to be honest, if I'm going to be very honest, it's fear. The fear of not having it.
Hmm.
the fear of scarcity of it, the fear of the lack of it. And then the second thing that will come to my mind is, oh boy, money answered all things. Freedom. Let me just have more of this thing. I'll be able to touch more lives. I'll be able to change my situation. I'll be able to improve my life, better my life. There are tons of businesses in my head, but certainly the first thing that will come to my mind is the fear of
Mm.
not having it. Now, thank you so much because all of you've dropped things. But let me tell you, let me also show you what other people would say about money. Some people would call it blessing. Some people, when they hear money, they'll be like, oh, charity. Let me just have this money. I want to touch some lives. I want to send some kids to school. I want to build water. I want to build a bowl in my for my community. I want to do a whole lot of good. Some people would say security, financial security. A lot of girls today, they're in prostitution because they did not come from money. Well, we could argue that they lack contentment and other things, but certainly there are lots of 13-year-old that are already in the wrong hands because they came from family where poverty is real and they didn't have that covering, that security that money provides. So for people like that, they would think, oh, money, security. They would think opportunity. They would think it's at access. They would say, oh my God, I know that if I have money today, I can meet my local government chairman. I can book an appointment with my governor. I can meet the president if I want. We can think defense. We can think happiness. We can think purpose. We can think success. We can think choice, independence, protection, stability. Those are the things that we think about. Now, I want to ask us another question. I want us to share one early memory about money. Again, no right answer, no wrong answer. Any early memory about money. Who wants to start? Any memory about money at all. It could be silly, it could be funny, it could be sad, but I want you to try to tap into your heart, to tap into your subconscious, because all of these things, there's a way it gets buried into our subconscious. And if we do not unearth them, it subconsciously drives us. It's like that imaginary, invincible hand that drives us, that propels us. You would make a choice and you wouldn't even know why you are making that choice. For example, if you have, if your thought about money is, oh, I just want to have access if I have money, then you realize that once you have money, you start buying a lot of ashwebi and start going to parties that you have no business going to.
Yeah.
You would have bought the ashwebi before even taking a pause to ask yourself, do I really need this ashwebi? That's because what is driving you is in you, buried deep in you. And until you get to the core of it, you're just kidding. You would make a ton of money. You would make $1 million, but you would spend it all.
All right.
So, who is ready to share?
All right. Before someone share, I just want to like buttress your point. Thank you so much, Adiola. It's been really profound, and I hope everyone is really getting the best and angle on what we are trying to discuss this evening. And one of the purpose for that question, which it's good if we can reflect and share. I know someone has posted something in the chat, is that if we can reflect on our past experiences about money, those are what actually, or those are what have shaped our thoughts, feelings, and decisions about money. So, not just shaping our thoughts, not just some people said money is purchasing power, which are true, service, cash, and all those things. It's our past experiences, what we grew up to know, or what our feelings has told us over time about money, or how we've dealt with money in the past, that at the end influences our decision in terms of how we behave when we have money, consciously or unconsciously, because sometimes some behavior has become second nature to us. We are going to talk about it in a bit. It's not because we learn it when we grow up, but because we've done it over time unconsciously, it has affected our feelings. We've seen it in the past, the way our parents or your friends, or when you have your first salary, how you dealt with that. It's generally going to affect your reaction, your decisions in spending or relating with money. So, just to buttress at your last point and to give us opportunity to give feedback to that. So if you can share those one early memory. I think Bona is sharing. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if it's he or she. The happiness that came with my first 100K. I felt confident and hopeful that I can make more. Wow, that's brilliant. That's
Fantastic.
brilliant. Yeah.
Okay. If no one is ready to share, or maybe we are still
I think we
thinking
should
of
wait
sharing.
a little bit for one more person
Okay,
to
let me
share.
hear
You
from one
can
person
try.
because I'm going to share mine as well.
If you cannot talk, you can share.
Yeah, you can drop a message and Wimi will help us,
Read
read
it.
it to us. Okay.
Okay. Oh, sorry. I want to share
You also
something.
want to share? Yeah, absolutely. Please go ahead.
Yeah. So, one early memory I have about money is about rich people and the affluence they have in the society. So I believe that money is about, when there's Christmas or New Year, people come back home with big cars and luxuries and stuff like that. So I just come to believe, oh, money is all about the number of cars you are able to buy and the number of branded stuff you are able to use and things like that in general.
Great, great, great stuff. Now let me share with you one of my earliest memories of money. So as a kid, I came from a family. I came from two worlds. So my parents, and then I lived with my cousins. So my cousins were well off, better than my immediate nuclear family. And what I quickly realized is that my mom would owe money. They would owe vendors money. Maybe she bought some things on credit and she doesn't have money to pay. And so she will tell us, if someone comes home to ask for me, tell them I'm not around. She would tell us that. That was one memory. Then the second one, I remember as a kid, anytime I'm going to school, anytime. I attended a federal college, a federal school. So a federal school is a public school funded by the federal government. So we weren't paying tuition, but I lived in a boarding house. So even though we weren't paying tuition, we were expected to pay boarding house fee. And how much am I talking about? Less than 10,000 naira. Although naira then was stronger, I must add. But then I remember every time I'm going to school, it doesn't matter how much I need to pay. It doesn't matter if it is 20,000 or 15. My dad would carry me to that my other family member to beg for money. So you can imagine that certainly affected me because when I went to that school, federal school, like I said, and the good thing about federal school is like a melt pot of people from different classes, from different social classes. You have the are very affluent people. When I was in school, kids of ministers, like federal minister, people serving in Abuja were there. Like the granddaughter of Babangida was in that school. You have the middle income people in that school. You have the have-nots in that school. And you even have people poorer than me in that school. Just be brilliant. That's it. Meet the cutoff. You meet if you meet the cutoff, you will get a place there, right? So during visiting days, I couldn't even be guaranteed of anything. I couldn't be guaranteed if my parents were coming or if they would bring me what I needed when they came. Yet I would see other people, they would come with cars. They would come with food, like food that they cannot finish, that they will literally be begging people, come help me hit this right, come help me hit this meat, And for me, I saw it. So remember, I told you that my first emotion was fear. My first emotion was fear, and the first word was scarcity. That set that background for me. I just could not imagine a world where I would not have money, where my kids would have to beg like I did. Who wants to share? Or where my kids would have to lie that I'm not at home because I'm not picking up on my bills. So
Ayo said
that's
he had similar experience.
great, great, great.
Oh,
Okay,
can I share now?
absolutely, sir.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. I've listened carefully to you, and I want to share my own experience too.
Yes,
Actually,
sir.
I want to say here that perspective about money, the way I see it, is relative. It's
Yes.
relative in the sense that, for example, when I was growing up, money is not really what we see as something that you really have to have in excess, just like the way we think nowadays. But in the recent time, things have changed.
Yes, sir.
Regardless of whatever you want to do, you just have to think of having money. For example, in the recent time, if I want to travel and I'm going to drive in my car, I must have some cash with me. If I don't have cash with me, there's no way I'm going to drive because it is almost certain that there might be a need for me to make use of the cash alongside. So, for example, of course, and I said it is relative in the sense that uh, the environment in which one grew up in or the environment in which one lives in. For example, there are some environments in which uh, maybe basic needs are provided. In such environment, money will not be seen as something that one will really have to, may I say, worship or something like that. But in an environment like ours here, I mean Nigeria, where basic needs are not being provided, everybody see money as what they really have to or must have. As I was saying earlier, that if I'm traveling, for example, if I'm in an orderly environment, for example, and I know that I'm traveling in my car, I know certainly there will be, even if there is any reason or any cause to make use of, to make use of or get some kind of assistance, there will certainly be provision for that. But in a Nigerian environment, everything you are going to do, you need money. Even with common flat tire that you have, if you cannot change it by yourself and you see somebody passing across the road, they will assist you in doing it. The only way, because of our environment, is to appreciate them with certain cash. So here in this type of environment, we see money as something that makes you, may I say, the wherewithal, yes, that makes you confident. It's a wherewithal that's actually going to get you relatively everything you want in the present situation.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir. It's great to hear from you. And exactly, I agree with you 100%. Everything that we do right now, at the end of the day, depends on how you grew up. So, like I said, there is no right answer, there is no wrong answer. So, for me, that came from a background that we didn't have a lot of money, even though that has formed one of my invincible hands driving me, but then that's not the best. You shouldn't have scarcity mindset, right? You shouldn't be too scared to use money or hoard money because you don't want to go broke. You need to be able to use money as a tool. So, like I said, I just want us to ask these leading questions. I want us to dig deeper. Some will have answers now, some will certainly will not have answers now. And when we get home, I want us to take, some personal time to think deeply, to say, why? Why is it that when I get money today, I buy stuff? Could it be because as a kid, I couldn't get all of this stuff? I was wearing hand-me-downs. And now that I have money, I'm overcompensating for that past experience by spending on things that I absolutely do not need. So my experience is different from your experience. Definitely my answer will not be the same as yours. Mine is not right. Mine is not wrong. Yours is not right. Yours is not wrong. But one thing that we can all agree about on is that we need to think about this subconscious stuff that affect us. And we need to have an healthy relationship with money, where we see money as a tool, not money as something that needs to be worshipped or demonized. Now, what did you learn about money as a child? As a child, for the sake of time, I would answer, and then maybe you can think about it as well and make a note. Or if you want to share, you can take a couple of minutes to share. What did you learn about money? The only thing I learned about money as a child was they would give us this piggy bank. We call it colo. And if anybody comes around, to say hello. Maybe a family member comes over and when they're leaving, they give us money. We'll keep that money in that piggy bank. Or when you go to school and they give you stipend and you are expected to save a certain amount of money from your stipend. And at the end of the year, you would break your colo and you would use your colo to buy something that you want. Or if mommy or daddy is broke, they would break all the colos of all the kids and they would spend all the money with joy. That was that was one thing I learned about money. What would we call that? Savings.
Mm.
So I think that as a kid, I learned about savings. Yeah, they called it savings, color, but now I know that it's a solid foundation. But we just need to take it a notch higher, right? Maybe you have other things that you've learned about money as well. For people, different strokes, different folks. Some people, it is the father that has a lot of money and he uses that money to control the mother and the children. decide their life and things like that. So, like I said, no right answers and no wrong answers. So I want us to think about it. What truly matters to me when it comes to money? What truly matters to me? At the end of the day, what truly matters to me? Is it family security, right? Or being debt free, not running away from different people, from your landlord, running away from your landlord, running away from NEPA people, running away from people, different responsibilities, different debts. Is it final? Is it family security? Is it debt? Living a debt-free life? Is it financial independence? The ability to make choices for yourself and say, this is what I want to do for myself, for my husband, for my family, for my parents, for my children, and the ability to do it. Is it agency? The ability to even have something of yours that you can direct, that you can decide what to do with it? Is it affluence? I just want to have it. I just want to have that affluence. I want to use my money as a tool for influence. Or do you want to use it for philanthropy? Like Dr. Derino said, there was a time that we didn't need to have a lot of money. But I would also like to make it clear that it's not bad if you want to have a lot of money. If you do not want to have a lot of money, maybe for you, it's enough if you do not have debt and if you have family security and financial independence. Maybe you don't really care for affluence. Maybe you don't really care for philanthropy. That's okay too. But certainly you need to get to the core of it. What truly, truly matters. People think we know these things, but we do not. And this is how I know we do not. Assume that you win a lottery today, $1 million. What would you do with $1 million today? Let's say I give you a check, $1 million. What would you do with that $1 million today? This is how you know you don't know.
Yeah,
Stop. Please go ahead.
yeah, sorry. I just want to make a comment with what you said, which is quite good. If you have $1 million today, or if someone gives you 1 million naira today, I know that's more money today, but what are you going to do? What are the first two things that will come to mind? And that is really important. We will get there as we proceed. But as we think about these things, I'm just bringing us down to reflection as we reflect together as we do this. What truly matters to me? It's not about your friend or family or anyone at this time. We are trying to make everyone to reflect and think about, to me, when money comes, what are the things that I think about first? Or when I'm thinking about money, or we are religious people in Nigeria quite well. When you are praying about money, in your heart of hearts, what are you actually praying about?
Praying about.
Are you praying about family security, being debt free, not owing anybody, being able to freedom? And that's where freedom comes in, or affluence. Because sometimes the real thing we are really thinking about when we think about money is affluence, is not even family security. And I think Deola will talk about this a little bit more in a moment, where, and she mentioned it at the beginning also, when you earn $1 billion or 500 million naira. I know a lot of us would have seen people earning 500,000, 1 million, 1.5 million per month, and they still go around borrowing money or looking for someone to borrow them money to do basic things of life. The problem is not in the money they earn, is in this thing we are trying to make us reflect on. What truly comes to your mind? What truly matters to you as a person? Is it buying the luxury phones or buying the luxury dress, or you just want to be average, you just want to be balanced, you just want to be able to eat and every of those things? Yeah, so that's the comment I just want to make on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So your definition of rich can either help you grow wealth in a healthy way or make you obsessed with money. And oftentimes, if you don't have a good relationship with money, if you've not even asked yourself, why do I want this money? When you get that money, chances are high you would blow it on things that are not
Mm.
necessary, things that would not give you that joy and fulfillment that you truly desire. Okay. So now let's quickly go to this next. There was the man, Maslow. He drew this beautiful triangle. And he was trying to make an argument that we human beings, we start from, you know, this very base of this triangle: psychological needs, safety nets, and then we climb up and up. So you would see that the first two bays, we call it the basic needs: food, warmth, water, rest, right? You want to put your children in a good school, you want to feed, you want to rent a flat, or maybe build a home, you want to buy a car. That sense of security, most people start from there. And you will realize that for most people, you cannot think about any other thing. You cannot think about the other things in the pyramid, like self-actualization. The self-actualization is at the very top, achieving one's full potential using creative activities. That's the very top of the pyramid. Yet, this study shows that a lot of people start from the very base, and most time they are stuck. They are stuck, these two levels. They just wake up, go to work, make money, buy bread, buy clothes, pay their rent. That's it. They would never leave that level of basic needs to the other steps above, like influence, belonging and love needs, intimate relationship, friends, influence, esteem needs, prestige, feeling of accomplishment, and the very top, self-actualization. Baby, I think I would
Yeah.
like you to say something on this.
Yeah. So I've been looking forward to talk about this because there's a lot of things to talk about in the Maslow hierarchy of needs. Anyways, when we were discussing this together, I remember saying it's sad to know that in Africa, 80 to 90% of people remain at the base of the Maslow hierarchy of need. And that is the need for food, water, warmth, rest, security, and safety. We all know it's a common knowledge in Nigeria. We have to buy our security, we have to buy our safety. Uh, Food can be luxury, water is luxury because everybody needs to drink borehole. And warmth we might not really think a lot about warmth in Nigeria, except every other thing. But until our basic needs are met, there's no way we can evolve and do well in every other level. For example, I remember why I was in Nigeria when I got married. Myself and my wife, I analyzed and I found out 80% of the crises we have is money related issue. There's all this, if you remember why we are young, most of the time when our parents flog us or snapped at us, it's not because of what we do most of the time, it's because of what they are going through and they just pass those aggression onto us. So, and that's why it's important why we need to talk deeply about this. We need to understand where we are as a person and how we can do to improve ourselves from here to another place. The second thing I want to talk about is it's difficult for you to develop ideas or to think even clearly when you've not moved away from the point of basic needs. And I know there are a few scientists here, and that's why good number of scientists all over the world, they are not, or they have invented something spectacular phenomena, are not from countries that are developing most often. Most often, you find them in developed country where they have moved their people away from the basic needs and they are now starting to think more around the self-actualization point of view, where they are thinking about, oh, how do I achieve my goal? What do I need to do? Do I have to feel accomplished? But an average African person, where we find ourselves, have to still think more about that point. So we need to evaluate ourselves. We need to reflect more as an individual at this point also. I'm sorry I have to talk more about reflection because it helps a lot. It helps someone like me to take step from point A to point B or Z to say, okay, where am I now? Am I at this basic need level? What can I do to elevate myself? And sometimes, which we still talk about, it boils down to our money mindset that we started from. If your money mindset is wrong, you won't even know how to channel your resources to meet just your basic needs. And once your basic needs are met and you are able to, stay at the level that you are and grow gradually, you will not be able to get to the point where you are able to have an intimate relationship or even friendship or prestige. You can't even talk about feelings of accomplishment because you you are not able to think clearly because you still have things pulling you down. Your basic needs are pulling you down. Want, coverage, good clothes, feeling good enough to approach people or to be among people that matters. And that's really important when we are thinking about our money, the hierarchy of needs. And yeah, I think that's it for me.
Great, great. So I don't need to overflog what you said. Fact, it's difficult to think about creativity or ideas when you're hungry. Isn't it funny that the people that says I'm not fulfilled are people that they have passed the level of basic needs. It is after they are fed. It is after they have gone to the O1 base. Then they now feel like, is this all I'm here for? Really? So is this why I'm here? Just to make money, pay my rent, buy a house in Banana Island, buy a car, and attend parties? And
Mm,
that is when they begin to climb up that pyramid. However, but some people postulated that instead of journeying that way, how about we flip it? Let's think about that. How about we flip it?
mm,
Meaning, instead of climbing it down from basic needs, food, water, food, how about we flip it? Yes, it is true that people in the developed countries, they quickly passed that level of basic needs. And so they reached self-actualization faster. But then we found people from Africa, from the developing countries, from Nigeria, where I'm from, that got something out of life and they got it fast.
mm,
Could it be because they saw something and they 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 ran with self-actualization first? So what do I mean by saying running with self-actualization? I'm saying instead of survival,
mm,
how about we think of purpose? Instead of survival, how about we think of purpose? How about we think of legacy? How about we think of impact? If I start from there, then you would see people like that. Then they would be able to tap into their innate skills and abilities. And they'll begin to do things they are not even aware they could do. You would see people all of a sudden, you went to university together, they were not funny when you were in school. But then maybe they stumbled on self-actualization very fast. And they'd be like, you know what? I think I can sing. I know somebody. We went to the same fellowship together. That guy was not the most skillful of singers or of drummers. But I'm sure he stumbled on self-actualization first. It's called self-transcendence. You ask yourself, why am I here? You tap into your purpose first. And now this guy is one of the most sought after and fast rising gospel artists in Canada and in North America. Sometimes, maybe when we look inwards and ask ourselves these pressing questions, maybe when we start from there, maybe that is another way to journey this life instead of going from basic needs up. Maybe if we start from purpose and then tap inside, maybe we can start that business. Maybe we can start that idea we've always had. Maybe we can start singing that song we've always felt we should sing. Maybe you're not sure, maybe you're a singer or not. But maybe when you dig deeper, then you realize, oh, maybe I know how to write poetry. And then you start writing poetry. Or maybe I could be a good screenwriter. And then you start writing stories and start selling it for movies. Or maybe I have a gift with words, and then you be a content writer. Or maybe I'm a fantastic salesman. I think God has given me a persuasive spirit. I can persuade people to get them to do stuff. And then maybe you go into sales and then you begin to have fulfillment. And before you know it, you will start making money from your skills. You start making money from your abilities. You start making money from your ideas. You may not be a billionaire. You may not have a unicorn, but sure, you are meeting purpose and you are happy and you are getting compensation for it. And in it, your psychological needs will be covered. Your safety needs will be covered. Your social needs will be covered. Your esteem needs will be covered. Now, that esteem is not going to be outside in. It's not people that will be telling you why you should love yourself, but it's going to be from you out because you have dealt with that sense of purpose. And so your life has meaning. Your life just has meaning. You don't have to have that validation from, external people because you're starting from self-actualization. It just helps you to have that meaning. So The ball is in your court. But certainly the goal for us, for this meeting is to challenge you to say that maybe you want to start with self-actualization. Maybe you want to pursue purpose. Maybe you want to pursue meaning. Maybe you want to pursue growth, fulfillment, understanding your true purpose and setting goals that align with your higher potential. This helps refine your money mindset. It can take you from that mindset of scarcity, from survival, to charity, to empowerment, to legacy, to building something that outlives you. So I want us to write that first goal down. That's the first thing that I want. Even if you will forget everything I have told you so far, myself and Bimi, even if you forget everything that we have shared with you so far, I want you to remember this thing: self-actualization. I want to connect with something bigger than me, bigger than bread, bigger than water, bigger than, certainly we need bread. Yes, we need bread. But instead of chasing bread, because we will always chase bread, every day we will always need food. Every day we will always need food. Every day we will always need clothing. So if we will always need clothing and food at every day, maybe as you're thinking about food, maybe you should also think about something bigger than you, than food. All right. So now let's talk about money. People think they know what money is. They be like, especially in this world, we talk shifts, hours, shift, hours, shift, hours. But let's talk about money. What is money? Money is a tool. It's first a tool. People think money is about the digits in your bank. People think money is about that paper in your wallet. But money is a tool. It's simply a tool for us to exchange time for something. Is that right? So, for example, let me give you an example. Let's say you have a nanny and you tell your nanny, I want you to come around and help me with my kids, and help me clean the house, housekeeper, help me clean my house and maybe drive my children. Maybe it's a driver you want to hire. I want you to help me drive my children to school. What is that person exchanging? So the driver would resume to work, would drive your family around, and at the end of his shift, you would give that person money. Isn't that a means of exchanging the driver's time for money or your housekeeper's time for money, right? But what if money could be an exchange of value? Because the thing about exchanging time for money is that time is limited. We only have 24 hours. It doesn't matter whether I'm good or bad. I could be the worst person on the earth. I could be an angel on the surface of the earth. I have 24 hours. You have 24 hours. Everybody has 24 hours. So if I want to exchange my time for money, I do not have more than 24 hours and I have
Mm,
to sleep out of it, right?
mm,
So we would see immediately that even though exchanging time for money is a valid way of making money, there should be a more efficient way of making money because time is limited.
mm,
So how about we exchange value for money?
mm,
Because think about it, that nanny that is coming to your house, the person will spend 8 hours. Can the person scale it? No. Can the person replicate it? No.
mm,
If the person is not with you, exchanging our time for money, she's in another house exchanging that our time for money. But the earnings she will ever have is capped because the tool she's using to get money is limited. She's using time to get money, and time is limited. So definitely her earning potential or his earning potential will be capped, will be limited because there's so much a man can do or any woman can do, given that we have a limited time. But there is a better way, and that is exchanging value for money. And that is limitless. And that depends on you. Maybe you want to say something.
Yeah, I really like the way this is going. Anyways, thank you, Adela. You know, thinking about money as a means of value, I just want to share some experience before you continue. We need to see money as exchange for value because sometimes, if we remember how, I think it was our social study in secondary school, they taught us trade by barter. And,
Mm,
from trade by barter, money, cowrie, and all those things was produced. If we think about it a little bit clearly from that point, we could see that what are they trying to do that they brought about currency is that We don't want to be exchanging yam for tomato because it's tedious. Or take, for example, you want to travel from Ibadan to Ogbomoso and you have to give the cab driver uh, tubers of yam. It's going to be tedious. It's almost impossible, right? Now, what we are trying to say is money is not just that currency you are having. Think about it as someone is giving it to you because you've provided a value. However, the question I really want to ask, and I'm talking more on reflection from reflection point of view this evening, is what value are you giving to someone or are you giving in your place of work that they are paying you for? Because it really matters. And as we reflect on that, time, time is also very important. A lot of us use our time without thinking about the values we might be uh, the values or the money we might be losing, wasting those times. For example, I worked with an organization while in Nigeria, and I know it might not apply to everyone, to be honest. I'm just sharing for learning purpose. And as the IT manager, and sometimes they want you to come on board on Saturday, which is not in my contract. And I said, no, I wouldn't work on Saturday unless I'm paid for it separately because that is time. And then some of us, because I know that's Nigerian ideology, when in developed world is quite different. When you are to work 8 to 5, and someone say, you can't leave the office until 6, 7 p.m. Nobody's paying for that time. And we need to be careful about how people use our time without paying for it. Going back to the issue of value, a lot of us feel that we don't have money or people are not giving us money. But when you start to create value, when you start to produce value, people pay for value. Those are intangible things. It is the intangible thing that brings about money to you. I, for example, run a startup that develop mobile app or website solution for all these things, for people, for organizations. And when people come to you and say, oh, and this might be a good example, and say, oh, we developed this website. Some people come to me, some clients will come and say, oh, we developed this website with this person and they charge 200,000. I'll say, that's fine. You can go to them and they'll give you a 200,000 website. And they'll say, oh, what do you do differently that you are charging us 2 million, 1.5 from your website? And then I say, okay, I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you the use case. We are going to design the website this way. This is interactable platform. We are going to give you a good graphics. We are going to follow up on your design. And that's the value. That's what we are bringing. It's not just you giving someone the website and in 2 weeks or 1 month or 2 years down the line, I was still talking to a client this afternoon. I'm managing website of a company 5, 6, 7 years after it's been delivered to them. A lot of people that will do 150, 200,000 naira or thereabout website for you, we do it and let it go. They are not doing any value. So whatever you are doing now, the question is, what value can you add to what you are doing? And I remember asking someone a question saying, oh, what do you do? For example, let me use another example. I'm a photographer. We are still talking about money. And we ask you, oh, you want to be a photographer for life? Yeah. So what will you do differently that will make me want to snap picture with you since I can do it with my iPhone? Instead of doing it with my iPhone, why should I come to you? What are you doing differently? What value? And that's the question. What value are you bringing that is different from what I will get from um, the photographer on Isale Ko or Isale Badon or somewhere else? Why should I pay like T.Y. Bello, for example? I remember there was a time she was charging 1 million naira per shot. She's a photographer. And the question is, what's she doing differently? It's the same camera, right? It's the same posing, it's the same everything. But there's something she's doing differently that make people pay for that value, right? If you party or go to clubs, you see some clubs, they will say a bottle of Coke is 50 naira. And even not club, airport, a bottle of Coke in airport can go, then I don't know Nigeria now, anyways, can go as high as 500, 250. Then when they are selling it outside the airport, if you just move out for like 150, and inside it's 500. Different value, different space, and things begin to change. So begin to think about money and begin to think about, if money is an exchange for value, what value can I sell? Like Adiola was saying, someone discovered his purpose, he can sing better, and became um a voice in Canada that people want to listen to. That's a value. The person is creating value and is bringing money to him. So, what value are you bringing? What are you doing differently? We are all barbers, or we all have salons, but what extra thing? When I was in Nigeria, I shaved in ShopRite Ibadan, for example, and then I don't know now, it was 500 naira per cut. Outside, it was, I think, 100 naira or 150. But there's something different when you enter that salon. The way they treat you, the customer value, and then they wash your hair, they give you premium treatment, and you feel, oh no, I think this is where I need to shave all the time. So think about value. Think about, as we think about money, and we say money is an exchange for value, money is an exchange for time. And I know Adiola has a lot to say on this. I will stop very soon. Is what value will you bring that will give you more money, and not just the same way people are doing it? I can talk on this for hours. I've talked, I have not even mentioned iPhone and Android. Why is iPhone costing more? Why do people pay more to buy an iPhone device? What's the value? Why do people want to buy a Nike shoe and not just a random shoes? Are there values that are being created? Because if you are not creating value, you are not going to get more money. If you are not doing something different, you are not going to. When I schooled in Lautech Odumasho, there's this, lastly, I will stop now because there's a lot of things. I remember there's this woman that fry akara at Sabo. They call it, that time, they call it akara yauze or something. We will trek to go buy the akara. Why? Because she added something different. She added suya spices to it. And people will queue, long queue. And there are two akara seller at the same spot. And these are things that change my mentality, make me start thinking about creating values, creating ideas differently. And I kept asking myself, I asked my roommates, and I said, what's the difference between this person and this person? There'll be 50 people here, and there'll be two people here, or nobody at this other Akara joint. Because of that suya spice, people prefer to, or we all then prefer to buy from that person and not this person. So think about, reflect on that exchange for value, exchange for time, selfishly to yourself, and say, what value can I bring that will be different from what other people are doing? When you go for that interview, when they ask you, what are you bringing to the table? The only question they are asking is, what value are you bringing? What else will you bring that 500 other people will not be able to bring? And that's where your uniqueness that Diola was talking about, self-actualization. Why am I different? What am I going to do differently to this person? All right, I've talked a lot. Adela, please go ahead.
Fantastic. That is very great. So, we have certainly seen that there are two ways to make money. Is that you exchange time for money or you exchange value for money. But today, my goal is that everybody, let us scratch that exchanging time for money. Let's do it in a more efficient way. Let's one, let's exchange value for money. So if you clean people's houses, good, but you're just exchanging your time for money because you can't scale that operation. Or maybe you can, right? But certainly, if you are doing the cleaning yourself, you only have how many hours to clean in a day? Your earning potential is capped. What if you had a cleaning business and then you hire people that can do the job and then you replicate it? And instead of making money from your own time, you make money from other people as well. That is value, right?
Mm,
That could be
mhm,
value. If you're a persuasive person and you go from church to church to maybe give a sermon, how about you write a book? And for life, your children unborn, they will make money off royalty of that book.
mhm,
People are generating content now. They're selling content on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram. Wow, they only need to create that content once, and people watch it infinitely over, and they make money per view. That is
mm,
scalable. That is not time to money because even while they are sleeping, they are making money. People sell courses on Udemy, and for you just need to make it once, and maybe just refresh it once in 2 years to make it up to date. But then you make that content, you make that you make that short movie, you make that you write that book, you write that course, you put it on Udemy, you put it on Coursera, and then it's scalable. And then your earning potential is no longer tied to money. Now it's unlimited, it's uncapped. Now you can make money even while you're sleeping. So everybody, I want us to scratch it that I don't want to. I want to get out of the zone of making money with time, but making money for value. You would realize that in a business, the CEO, the VP, the this or that, the B is on the floor. They do the most work. The CEOs is just there thinking
Yeah.
strategy, thinking, signing documents, going from meeting to meeting. Yet he makes a killing of the money. But the people that would be at work 7 o'clock, they won't leave until 8 o'clock, and then they will be stuck in traffic for 4 hours. They're making how much? 100,000 naira, 150,000 naira. Because the people at the top, it's not about what they can do in time. It's about the value they can bring to the company. The people they know, the relationships in their life they can leverage to propel the activities of the business, to propel the interest of the business. And that is why they will continue to hire them. Even if they're asking for 5 million naira monthly, even if they're asking for 100 million naira monthly, they'll be like, oh, do you know this person? He attended this business school and he knows this person, he knows this person, he knows this person, he knows that person. Let's give him 100 million naira that they want. And then we know that he can always bring in business for us to the tune of billions. And then they pay him. That certainly does not have anything to do with his time. It's purely about his value, right?
Mm.
So more work is not equal to more income. Working harder doesn't always mean any money, any more money. You'll be burnt out, burnt out, declining health. You're exchanging your health for money. And then there's this law of diminishing returns. There's a level you get to that you're no longer growing, you're just coming down, right? So more work is not equal to more money. But we can work smarter by focusing on value, invest in personal development, do that course, do that programming course you've always wanted to do, learn coding, learn it. If you want to be a singer, go and learn, train your voice. You want to be doing screenwriting, go and do screenwriting. There is this guy on Instagram, Akim Effect. He's one of the leading guys in Nollywood today. He does makeup for people. And it's not the normal makeup that you and I go take with us to church. No. If he wants to make a mold of a dead person, he makes the mold of a dead person. If he can make the mold of a baby, he can make a man look like a woman. Effect. Do that thing that you think you have the natural talent for. Do it. You want to write that book, write that book. You are an outgoing person, go to events and use your natural giftings to make money. Right? So build that your personal brand that speaks to your skill, your expertise, your uniqueness. We are different. Some people, they can sell you oil that you don't need. They have that natural gifting. By the time they start, one way or the other, we shall buy. It could be because you pity them. It could be because of what they will make sure you buy. You would have finished buying and be like, wow, a vegetarian. Why am I buying meat? You have been sold. You have been sold because they have that natural giftings. And so they continue to make money off it. So build your brand, right? Go for personal development. That thing in you, everybody has that thing in you. Build it, hack it, and be authentic while you're at it. Be authentic at it. Like Demi said, many are sellers, but he hadn't ginger. That is his own unique authenticity. I want to be sure that when she thought of it, she probably felt like, oh, this is silly. Who has suya to akara? No. People will even say this is not authentic akara. Our akara, the way our forefathers taught us. But you know what? She was authentic. She was unapologetic about it. I'm going to add suya to my akara. And that itself, single that out. Be authentic. Be authentic while you build your personal brand. And build and leverage your network. Opportunities come often from relationship, not just resumes. Go for events. Don't just sit at home. Go for events. If they are calling association, not association is the word now. Maybe networking event, a startup event. You don't have a startup that you are building. You don't even have an idea that you want to be, but go for that event. Go there, meet founders, and then position yourself. Don't position yourself as someone that is ready to take, but position yourself as someone that can help them build their own vision and ideas. And immediately you have a job. Right? So collaborate, reach out, share your goals. I know that LinkedIn, you see, this word. I've seen people that I know that you will even know you are smarter than them.
Mhm.
You will know that I'm smarter than this person, but this person is making waves because they have asked this thing about them. They have found that thing they have, that thing that gives them that edge, that thing that gives them that oomph. And then they have learned to build it, to leverage it, put it to use, and make something of it. Right? And so before you know it, even though they are 30 years old, they are the CEO of a company. That didn't come by years of experience, exchanging time for money again, right? Where you
Mm.
have to go from level 1 to level 2 to level 3, and you cannot be in level 10 until you pass through level 4. But you will see people day one, they be like, I'm going to be the CEO in the next 5 years. And then they find that thing that uniquely positions them, and then they build it. They build the heck out of it. They brand it. They go for events and they sell their brand. And they tell them, you know me. When I met with you, there is a way I persuaded you to have a conversation with me. And if I can do that for you, I can do it for your business. I can carry your business on my head and knock it like gala and give you the results your business wants. And then you make me the CEO. Why not? If not, you give us the money we want and we give you anything you want. So I want us to move from time to value. I want us to move from making money from time to making
Mm.
money from value. I want us to move from the labor-based compensation where everything is tied to hours, everything is tied to shift. Oh, I'm broke. Let me do more shift. Oh, let me get more shift. Oh, let me get a second job. Yeah, it's good sometimes, but that's not, it doesn't have to be like that all the time. Find
Mm.
that thing, move from the industrial era to the knowledge economy. Now we have 27-year-olds. This thing I wish I had it 10 years ago when I was in uni. I would have built my startup faster than this.
Mhm.
And now I'm applying for jobs where 30-year-olds are the CEOs,
Yeah.
right? But it's never too late. It's never too late. Don't be like that. Don't feel like, oh, it's too late for me. It's never too late. You can still get up and do something right now. I decided to build my company and I'm doing it now. So every day is the day the Lord has made, and you can rejoice and be glad in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you allow me. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Adiola. This is really good. And I think this point we can't drive it home enough in this session actually. Collaboration. I want to start from the point of collaboration, then come back to this value base. Sometimes we we focus on money to start something fresh. And money might not be the solution to what you actually need to do. And that's where collaboration comes in. You might have a big idea and feel, oh, I have this idea of starting this particular business, and all you are thinking about is the 10 million to do that business. Meanwhile, you have a friend, maybe you are thinking about developing a app, you have a friend that could develop a mobile app, you have another friend that could do marketing, maybe you are like me that can't really do much of marketing. Instead of you killing yourself headlong to get the business started looking for 10 million or 100 million, collaborate with people. Look for people that have strength where you don't have strength or where you have weaknesses, and they can help you build a startup up. That's one. Two is building your personal brand. One thing we can't stress enough is integrity. One thing that kills personal brand is lack of integrity. You need people to be able to say, if Bemi does this job for me, he will do it well. And
Mhm.
you compromise on that. See, there are people that every day they want to go out, every day I want to go out, I can order Uber because I know that if I click on ride and I put my location, a taxi will come. The day Uber fails me twice, three times, they start to lose market. We need to think about our personal brand in line with integrity. You are an electrician and they gave you a job. And if you cannot finish that job in 2 weeks, it's better you say, I can't finish this job in 2 weeks. It's going to take me 3 weeks. Integrity matters. You might lose customer at the beginning, but people will start to say, oh, we trust this person. Your personal values. especially in job place. I know few of us might have a business and some of us might be working in organization. Your personal value really matter in an organization. You need to shout it out loud. You need to make noise about it. Especially, I worked in industry for a while. If you don't shout about your skills, getting promotion becomes difficult. It doesn't matter where you are, whether you are in Nigeria or in Italy or in UK or in Canada. You need to learn to sell your value. And even in academia, in academia, the way you sell is by publishing paper, going for conferences and presenting. If you don't know how to sell what you did, someone will come and say, okay, go back to slide so and so. What do you mean by this? You need that level of confidence to speak, to sell yourself, to tell people, I know what I'm doing. I'm not a novice. Yeah, there can be little error here and there, but this is my value. This is what I stand for. When they want to bring promotion, they can say, oh, you can go to Tayo because we know that when we give him a tax, if we say it's 30 days, he can finish it in 25 days. That's a value. And when they are looking for someone to promote or take from one level to another, they can take them there. And that's where money comes from. And then learning. I say this a lot to people. I say, it's not enough to learn a new skill. I've seen people on LinkedIn learning data analytics, learning project management, business analysis, coding, Python. It's not enough. What really matters is, yeah, you can do all these things, but what are you doing different? I can't stress that enough. Like, what will you bring to the table differently? Anybody can make dashboard. I just need to watch YouTube videos. But what are you bringing that is different? If you study mathematics like me, for example, you can start to think about, oh, I learned data analysis. These are my mathematical skills. At least you have high level of statistical understanding. You know what is going on. And you say, oh, I can I can't just fit data to model or write model. I understand this equation, this regression. I know the mathematics behind them. And you'll be able to go from point one to point two. There is no cause or learning that is a disadvantage. You just need to put a stamp of your value on it, of that extra thing you are bringing to the table. And you need to think about this clearly. You need to reflect, not just a day reflection. You need to take time. Sometimes I lie down and write out what are the things I've done, what are the things I can do, and what are the things I can do better. And that will form your value. It's like you selling value that we have been talking about, the knowledge economy. It's like you selling yourself. You are pushing yourself out there to say, see, I can do this thing better than any other person in the room. If you give me this job, this is what I will bring to the table, and this is what I'm going to do better. If you give me this opportunity to run this for you, I'm going to do this better. And as you are learning that skill, how to repair phone, well, that might be common in Nigeria, how to make hair, how to do makeup, like she said. And you say, oh, makeup, okay, what can I do different? What can I add to this makeup thing that people will say, oh, this is different? There are people that make cake. I saw a guy that make cake online, and he can make any object with cake, phones and stuffs like that. People will go to him and say, oh, make cake for us. I want my wedding cake to be the picture of two of us. But you just learned how to make cake, and that's all you know how to do. Meanwhile, you study architecture in the university, and you didn't know that you can bring that in and be creative with it. So those are the things I think we need to really reflect on as we go ahead. So thank you for the time, Adela. That.
All right. Okay. So let's proceed. So what can I do to cross that Jordan? That's a second goal. How do I move from a time-based compensation to a value-based compensation? How can I scale my abilities, my giftings, my skills, my time to maximize my earnings? What can I do to cross this Jordan? Okay, now let's go into personal finance. Right. So what is personal finance? It's the process of it's a comprehensive strategy to manage your financial resources, to have achieve your short-term, mid-term, and long-term goals. We already talked about the money mindset from the beginning. What does wealth means to you? What does money means to you? Right? So how can you now use that money that you have, the little you have, how can you put it to use to achieve your goals, your short-term goals, your mid-term goals, your long-term goals, right? So it starts with assessing your current financial situation. People like to think that, oh, let me just go out and start making. No, don't go out first. Assess your current financial situation, right? If you go to a clinic, they will not just say, oh, this girl, she has yellow eye, she has pink fingernail, and then they start giving you medication. No, they don't do that. Don't do that. Maybe they can put you on life support if they feel you're gasping for air. They can give you oxygen, but they certainly will not give you anything that can damage you. Maybe they'll just give you Tylenol. Tylenol is paracetamol they call it paracetamol in Nigeria. But before they start pumping you with antibiotics, they would have done series of tests on you. Analyze the liver, analyze your kidney, analyze your signals, analyze your brain, analyze this and that. And that is where they can give you a comprehensive strategy to solve your problem. So don't let us feel like the first thing is to jump out. No, 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 no. If we do not deal with all of those unhealthy habits, we'll make money and then it will go. They will go as fast as they came. So let us assess our current financial situation. Let us set realistic goals. Let us develop a plan to achieve those goals. That is why we cannot copy financial plan because my goal is totally different from yours. If for you, you don't need a lot, you just want to, even your goal could be, I have 500,000 naira in debt. My financial goal for the next 2 years is to be debt free. That is fantastic. That is very precise. That is very realistic. That is smart. They will call it specific, measurable. You know, Will someone help me with the rest of the ART? I know the T is time bound. You know, Specific, measurable. What's the A? What's the R? Please, someone help me Google that. When you're setting smart goals, right? So it could be as little as I want to save 200,000 to start my fashion design business over the next 2 years. That is specific. That is time bound. That's realistic. I have 500,000 in debt. I want to pay it down in 2 years. So definitely my own financial plan is going to be different from your own financial plan, right? So it is supposed to be individualistic in nature, not a one size fit all, right? So financial planning, how do you make money? How do you keep it? How do you protect your interests? How do you plan for your retirement? How do you transfer wealth? So those are the core pillars of financial planning. So how do you assess your current financial situation? The first thing is you need to grab your pen. You can't do it now, but I'll still do a demo for you anyway. But the first thing you need to do is you need to analyze your income first. Some people don't know how much they make. They think they know, but they don't. They only know the fixed amount. So, for example, I take an example. So let's say that I earn 150,000
Yes.
salary, but let's say maybe I'm also into ushering. Sometimes, once in a while, I go for maybe sometimes I do MC. You will see a lot of people when they ask them, how much do you make? It is only that 150,000 they will mention. They will say, oh, I make 150,000 a month. But is that true? Is that really true? What about the money that your grandfather is giving you from the cocoa that he's selling? I'm just saying. What about the rent? Maybe your grandfather left you a property, or your mother or your father left you a property, you're collecting rent from it. Shouldn't that count for income? Maybe you have a cost that it doesn't sell all the time, but sometimes it sells. But then you can make projection and say, from historical data, it looks like at all, I ain't bad. I'll make 20,000 from this course, or from this ushering job that I do on a weekend, or from this cleaning business that I do part-time, or from this housekeeping, thing that I do. One thing or the other that we have going on the side. That should also count. Because if you don't account for that money, that is money you're putting to waste. Right? So you need to analyze your income first. If you are a single person, make a single analysis. If you are a couple, well, I would encourage you to jointly come together to analyze your income. This is a very dicey matter. I know some people argue, should it be joint? Should it be this or that? Should it be personal or that? I don't know. But I know the best is if you can come together as a family to analyze your income, it'd be better. But if you don't want, if you want the missus to keep her money and the mister to keep his money and everybody do their own separate thing, that is also good too. At least it's better than doing nothing. But then the best is that as a family unit now, analyze your income collectively because you spend the money together anyway. So analyze it collectively. Then state your debt clearly. It's not that it looks
Government
like yes.
continues to vote on deterrence and punishment rather
That
than
is not
addressing
enough.
the
It's
Senate
not enough
usually
to say,
exposes the reason.
there was one person I was consulting for, and the person said, Monique say I have a debt. And I was like, how much? I think that the debt should not be more than 400,000. I'm like, oh, 400,000. That's a lot, though. And how much do you make? 100,000. You make 100,000 a month and you have 400,000 in debt from loan apps. He said, yes. That's serious. But you know what? He's like, I'm not even sure. You know what? Let's start from next week. Let's meet. And I want you to tell me the specific base that you have. I want you to write it down. Everything. And he did that. Guess what? When the person came back, the person had 750,000 naira in debt, in fixed debt. And the person had a solar panel that he bought from MTN that is servicing with how much was it? I think it was 10,000 naira monthly. And he had recurring debt. And the person was saying, downplaying. I don't think he meant to downplay his debt. He just didn't know. Sometimes we think we know the extent of our debt, but we don't. Sometimes we know the pulse of our finance, but we don't. Sometimes we think we know our income, but we don't. You just know a part of it. You don't know the other part. You failed to account for the other part. Your debt, you know the most pressing of them, but you do not know the projection of your debts. For example, you got loan from loan app, and then you got another loan from loan app to pay that loan. You got loan from loan app to pay off Lapo. You need to project that if you continue at this rate, where are you going to land to in 2 years, in 3 years, in 4 years, in 5 years? That's how you state your debt, right? Analyze your investment. Do you have any investment at all? Is there any cocoa farm anywhere generating income from you? Is there any banana plantation that, anywhere? Is there any corn planting you do that is generating in an income for you? Maybe it's not your own personal farm. Maybe you invested in someone else's farm. So that counts for investment. Or is there any rental income that you're getting? Those are investment, right? It doesn't have to be stock all the time, but it could be. Do you have any bonds? Do you have any treasury bills that you've bought? Analyze your investment. Then understand your cash flow. Cash flow simply means as the money is entering, where is the money going? People just think, I don't know. I just know the money is going out. That's not enough. If I woke you up and I say that, what takes the most of your paycheck, you should be able to answer and say, this takes the most of my paycheck. And then what next? And then what next? And then what next? You need to understand your cash flow because it is only when you understand your cash flow that you can begin to fill the holes. They say the more the breakage, the more the leakage. If you make 1,000,000 naira a month, if you don't block your leakages, your money will go. It's not a curse. And the only way you can see your cash flow, the only way you can understand your cash flow is for you to chart it. You need to see where your money is going. If you do not see where your money is going, you will just realize that, but I thought when I get that, I thought that, someone got a job and we're like, if only I can get this job. They're going to pay me 300,000. Do you know how much I'm earning now? I said, tell me. I'm earning 150. If I get that job, they're paying me 300. Wow, fantastic. And my problem is over. Guess what? The person got the job. The problem was not over. Because, it was not over. Because what the person did was immediately he got that job, he bought another car, and then he got another house. And then he did not even take a pause to understand the cash flow. He just started spending money. You don't do that. You just started spending, and before you know it, it was like, now I need to get another job. I told the person, I said, get all the jobs in the whole world.
Do not change.
It won't change nothing. You will only begin to expand with your baggage. So, for example, let's say you're a dirty person. I have someone like that, in my corner that I know so well, a dirty person. And so they were living in one room. And then that room, they'd be like, it's because my house is small. That is why it looks like my house is rough. It's because my house is small. That is why it looks like. Guess what? The person now got a new job and the life was better. And now she now moved from a small 2-bed apartment. You know how they build houses in Lagos? Small. So now he now moved from a small 1-bed apartment in Lagos to a 3-bedroom apartment still in the same Lagos. Big house. Guess what? Now the dirty now increased. Because you know when the house was small, he used to hide stuff under the bed where you would not quickly see unless you dig. But now he now has a lot of space. The person now had a room that when you enter that room, you cannot make anything sensible of that room. Full of dirt, full of junks, torn paper, torn socks, old school uniform, old clothes. Oh God, dirty, dirty, dirty. That's the same analogy. We seem to think, oh, let me just get a bigger house. I will fix my problem with being organized and being neat. That's not it. If you're neat, you're neat. If you're organized, you're organized. You could earn 100,000 naira, and I ask you, what takes the most of your money? And because you are organized, you can tell me, this takes the most of my money. If I can solve this problem, I will have more room. That makes you a more efficient person. Unlike someone that is earning 1 million, that is disorganized. Lots of baggage, lots of leakages. So understand your cash flow. And the best way for you to do all of this in one fall swoop is to find all your answers in a zero-based budget, right? So a zero-based budget is a principle whereby you chart your money before you spend it, before you even get to spend it. Let's say you at the beginning of the year. That I do that for my year. I could show you my computer right now. I have the whole folder that I call family planning. And in my family planning, I have my family budget there. I have my family menu, even my family menu. I have it there. I have my marriage plan. I have it there. I have everything in there. The children I'm yet to birth, I have what I would do for them. Things that I have happened upon, the wisdom that I've gained over the years. And I have put in my head that it'd be great to implement this when I have children. I have them. You plan for your money the way you plan every part of your life, right? So the easiest, most simple way to find all of these answers is to have a zero-based budget. Now, let me quickly see if we can. I'm trying to flip my screen. I'm trying to flip my screen now. Okay, escape. I quickly want to show us what a budget, a zero-based budget looks like. Okay. Share. Just give me a minute. Trying to, I think I will just share my entire screen. Okay, can we see my screen now?
Yes, please.
Now, this is what a zero-based budget looks like. Now, there are many types of budget out there. But one thing I love about this budget is that it guides you, right? It guides you. It's customizable. It's flexible. It can accommodate your own unique circumstances. So quickly, you will see this red thing that says your spending is higher than your income. You need to cut 18,000 to balance a budget. Well, because I live in Canada, so I spend dollars. But then it's better to at least have a budget in dollars than not have any budget at all. I try to find resources that relate to Nigeria, but it's difficult to find all of those tools online. But if you don't mind, at least it's better for you to still prepare a budget with your, with this dollar-based spreadsheet than have nothing, right? So let's take this family as an example. The name of the person preparing it is John Doe, and the person has a partner called Jane Doe, and they are supporting 4 people in this family: the wife, the husband, and the 2 kids. They have 2 kids, and then the budgeting tips is on. And one party makes 120,000, the other party makes 150,000. If you have other sources of income, you can drop down. So, for example, do you have any other rental income? There are many types of income here: second income, third income, second income for Jane, income for John, investment income, rental income. This spreadsheet will help you put all of those incomes here. Like I said, analyze. First of all, think about all your income revenue and put everything down here. So let's keep it simple for the purposes of analogy. This person makes 120,000, and they also make, and the other party makes 150,000. And let's say that through gig, this other party makes 200,000 naira. Now, even though it's in dollars, but I'm going to work with it as if it were naira. And let's say, because it's not consistent, right? It's just a rough idea from their other gig. They don't earn it on a monthly basis. It's not consistent, but at least at all not bad. They expect to make 200,000 annually. from their side gig. And maybe they have rental income. So you can put as many of your income streams there. It will tell you how much you make on a monthly basis. Even though I have entered this number on an annual basis, it will still help you break it down to a monthly basis. And then you now begin to go from your housing expense to electricity to this and to that. Now, before I go into that, I want to quickly share with us some profound truths that some people have happened upon over the years. There is this 50-30-20 money management rule where people have postulated that for you to have a healthy balance, 50% of the money you make should go towards your needs, like housing, food, transport. And 30% should go for wants. So needs are things that you absolutely must spend on to live. You must pay your rent. You must feed. You must get yourself to work. So those are needs. Those are not wants. But what I want, entertainment is a want. You don't have to watch Netflix. You don't have to watch Amazon Prime. Maybe you could watch YouTube. You don't have to eat out. You could just eat at home, right? So all of those ones are wants. Vacation is a want, it's not a need. You don't have to go on a vacation if you cannot afford to. So those are wants. So people have postulated that certainly 30%, not more than 30%, 30% should go towards want. And then 20% should go towards savings and debt payment. But then this is from the point of view of the Western people, because where we are from, we are very religious people. So as Christians, we pay tithes, and as Muslims, we pay zakat. I'm not sure if I pronounce it correctly, right? So where does that 10% go? But I put a note here that this is not suitable if you earn low or if you have a high debt. Because if you earn 10,000, that 10,000 is not even enough for you to feed. So certainly all of the 100% cannot even cover for needs, not to talk of wants, not to talk of savings and debt payment. But certainly these are the kind of rules that you need to think about. Maybe if you earn 100,000 per month, put 50,000 down first, right? 50% for needs, and ask yourself, 50% of 100,000 is 50,000 naira. My wife or my husband also makes 100,000 a month. Between the both of us, we make 200,000. Okay. 50% of 200,000 is 100,000 naira. Will 100,000 times 12, that is 1.2 million. Will 1.2 million be enough to feed, to house, and to transport us to work? Start from there first. Just start from there first. That is when you begin to answer questions like, or is it that the house I'm living in is too expensive? Could I get a cheaper house? Or could I, it helps you ask questions, right? So now let us go back to our spreadsheet. So this family, they spend 250,000 annually on rent, and they spend 5,000 annually on electricity. Water, sewer, garbage, they only spend 2,000 naira because they only buy what? They only pay for people, all this tanker that used to come and give them water, and then they buy all the water. Maybe yours is more than that, right? Maybe you drink pure water. And so, but then this is the whole idea. The whole idea is try to put it down first. And then your cell phone, how much do you spend on cell phone? Let's say you buy data, 2,000, and then you buy credit card on a monthly basis. Let's say you spend a tidy 3,500, and then the other party to spend a tidy 3,500, right? On your phone, on your cell phones and your data. Groceries, let's say you spend 3,000 weekly. 3,000 weekly cannot cut it. 3,000 weekly cannot cut it. In fact, let me say that for a family of four, if you're not very careful, like I will put at 15,000. I prepared this budget how many years ago? So Nigeria was still a lot better at that time. I actually broke it down. And annual bulk shopping. So 15,000, let's say that instead of spending 50, they spend 15,000 weekly, they go to the market, they buy meat, they buy fish, they buy this and that. But on a monthly basis, or maybe annually, they buy food in bulk. Maybe they buy a bag of gari and they buy a bag of rice on an annual basis. So let's put it at 500,000. 500,000 annually. I'm going to put it at annually now, not monthly. So every year, they have a sinking fund. That's another principle. A sinking fund is like a small bank account you keep on the side where you save money you would need in bulk into. So for example, your rent in Nigeria, you pay it annually. Here, we pay it on a monthly basis. In Nigeria, it's annually. It's not an emergency. So you can have a sinking fund. Every month you'll be dropping your rent into that account. Every month, every month, every month. The day your landlord says pay, you just go into that sinking fund and pull everything out and pay. So you could also put your annual bulk shopping and say, in February, that is when beans is cheap. In April, that is when palm oil is cheap. And then you buy it in bulk, right? So this family, let's say this is what they do. And then personal care. Maybe they buy body cream, they buy shaving stick, they buy this and that. And then they buy beverage and provision for the children. They buy cereal, they buy milk. Let's put everything here. This thing gave me a flag. It's saying that it's greater than 20% of your income. Because there is this rule that says that you shouldn't spend more than 20% of your income on food and groceries, right? Right? It says most people don't need to spend more than 20% of their income on this category. You have allocated 46.5%. That is why I love this budget. Immediately, then you hold up. You ain't doing something right. Right? And it will tell you what you are doing right. So I know that dollar is different from naira, but I think percentages respect every currency in the world. We are talking percentage now, not the dollar value. If you earn 200,000 a month, the question is, can you live on 40,000? I think 40,000. How much is 20% of 100,000 is 20,000. 20% of 200,000 is how much? I beg, do the maths. My head is not processing the numbers well. But you get the gist, right? Whatever money you're making, ask yourself, put it at 20%. I want to spend 20% on groceries. Man shall not live by bread alone. I have things to spend money on, not just food. So I don't want to spend more than 20% on food. Is it feasible? Let's start from there. Is it feasible? Can I do that? Is it possible for me to do that? And let's see if it's possible for you to do that. And now let's go into transportation. Fuel. How much do I need to fill my car? Maybe the husband drives the car and the wife go by public transport. So they have different budgets for fuel and public transport. And then, of course, because the husband has a car, vehicle maintenance. You have to account for that too. And then clothing for Jane Doe, clothing for John Doe, and clothing for the children annually. You put it there. Assuming I spend this much on clothing. Assuming immediately to tell you, this is the place you account for Ashwebi. This is the place you account for Ashwebi. It says your spending on this category is high. Most people don't need to spend more than 5% of their income on clothing. Put your income, have 5% of it. Is it feasible? Can you do that? By the time you are chatting, the good thing about this budget is by the time you are doing it, you'll be self-correcting all of your ideas immediately. That this one that is 5%, this one cannot even buy one Ashwebi. Then what does that tell you? Maybe when they call you for parties, maybe you respectfully tell them that you are going to wear the clothes you have. Yeah. At the end of the day, people won't pay your bills for you. You will pay your bills yourself. And my philosophy is the only person that should have an opinion in my life is if you're going to help me pay my bills. If you are not going to help me pay my bills, I'm sorry, you don't get to have an opinion. You don't get to have an opinion. They would say, oh, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that, but you're progressing. You're not broke. Right? You know why you're doing stuff. You see, taking all back to that question, what truly matters to me? Is it the ability to look good in front of people and overspend on clothing? And you know what? The good thing about it is you can tell yourself, I don't really need clothes for this year. I'll just spend all of my budget on Ashwebi. That's okay too. But at least you know that you are being smart at it. You are not being impulsive. You have control over your money, over your spendings. You're not being impulsive. You are not backing yourself into a corner. Right? It is having considered all that you now decide to buy that Ashwebi. It is because you have charted it and you have seen that you have allocated 120,000 on clothing for this year. You've not spent it. So why not? If not, if you must spend that money on clothing, absolutely you can do that. But at least you have control and not be impulsive. So medicals, let's go to medicals. This person has 9 NHIS. They have NHIS, but sometimes NHIS doesn't cover everything, right? For example, they won't cover multivitamins. They only cover like real prescribed medications. but they won't cover other type of over-the-counter medicine. So over-the-counter medicine is what I've put it as OTC. They won't cover all your vitamins and all of that. So between you and your children, how much do you spend on prescriptions and over-the-counter medicine? You put it down. Those are the things that quickly expose us. Any little drama, your children are sick, you're beginning to fret, look for money. Meanwhile, you could have planned for all of these things head on and accommodate and allocate money for it, right? Before you start spending your money. And then you have work expenses, daycare, work lunches. When I did this exercise with that family, oh boy, their spreadsheet bled. It bled. And immediately they started saying, what if we remove this? And that is the whole idea. That's the whole goal of doing a zero-based budget. It's not just for you to, chart it and then say, it's like my account is red and you close the book. No, it's so that you now begin to pour over all of those different sections and say, instead of this, what if I do this? Instead of this, what if I do this? What if I remove these barbershop expenses and I buy a clipper and I barb my children's hair myself? Instead of this, what if I do this? And after you have done all of that, if your balance is now still in red, what does that mean? You've got to increase your income. You've got to increase your income after cutting everything. If your balance is still now red, you've got to increase your income. That's what it means. And then going back to what we learned, you now need to think of a more effective way of making money from the value point of view, not from the time point of view. You've got to think about something you can scale, something that can make money for you, whether you're sleeping or not, whether you're sick or not. If you have a business, for example, let's say you have a ushering business, whether you're sick or not, your staff, they can still go for event and make money. Yeah, those are the things that I want us to think about. So in any case, here, I also accounted for gift. Let's say they have allocated 10,000 annually for gift and 27,000 monthly for tithes, 10%. Because here it says, do you always give or tithe a certain percentage of your income? I say, yes. Please enter the percent of your income that you usually give, 10%. For Muslims, this is certainly not 10%. I think they have, I don't know how it works, but I know it's not 10%, right? So I think theirs is based off on generosity, as much as you can give. It's not based on percentage, right? But at least be authentic in preparing. You try to paint a realistic picture of what is going on in your finance and start from there. You cannot afford to lie to yourself now. Now put down your tuition, children tuition. Put it down. How much are you spending on your children's tuition? Do they do lessons on a monthly basis? How much do you pay? School supplies, how much do you pay? Birthdays, they have 2 kids, right? So assuming they only spend 10,000 per child, they just do a small cake and buy cabin biscuit for the friends. They spend like 20,000 annually. And then it will guide you to say your spending in this category could be a little high. We usually don't suggest spending more than 20% of your income on this category. You've allocated 22.8. And then savings, it will tell you emergency savings, how much. So I'll still go into the concept of emergency savings. I've discussed briefly what sinking fund means, right? So I would also discuss what an emergency in savings means. And then debt here, this family, they were paying 45,000 on a monthly basis. 45,000. And yet they still owed family and friends money. And if they wanted to get serious about paying it back, they would be paying 20,000 monthly. Right? So immediately by the time we were done, they were like, auntie, maybe you should remove the debt first. I was like, okay, I'll remove it. Let me remove that. Let's see. What is it going to change for you? What is this? I'm trying to clean it. It's not going. Yeah. And I removed it. And they were like, if we can just pay down this debt, and our situation will be better for it. And I was like, yes, certainly. Yes, the situation will be better for it. And you know what? This spreadsheet will also chart it for you. Put it on a graph for you, right? It will put it on a graph for you. The ones that are in deficit, it will show you. So for example, as a rule of thumb, you don't spend more than 35% on your housing expenses. That's another rule of thumb. There are this many rules. If you don't want to be house poor, don't spend more than 35% on your budget. So immediately you will know that, I think giving our circumstance. This Lekki that we are living is too expensive for us. Is either we go to a place that is more affordable within our budget, or we change our income, we turn it around completely and make money. And now, because you have planned it, now you know where your money goes. See, cash flow. Now you know where your money goes. Now you can say 35% of my money goes to rent. Oh, this goes to this. So at all, even if I don't make money, I must make money for my rent, 35% of my income. I must make money for my feeding, 20%, and for my children. So even if I don't make money, I must have a way of making 70% of my income. And that takes us to the next part of this presentation. So, goal 3, create a budget. I want everybody to commit to creating a budget. There is no two-way about this thing. If you don't, you cannot truly say you do not have leakages in your finance. If you don't, you cannot truly say. There is nobody that has taken the time to do a budget that have not identified one leakage or the other that saps the energy from their finance. I did mine and I saw it. It was not a big deal. I was only buying Tim Hortons coffee in the morning on my way to work. That's it. I'm telling you, it doesn't have to be something complicated. And the second thing, I was impulsive in giving.
Mm, mm.
I was impulsive in giving. It does not you don't have to be on drugs before you derail your finances. It can be little stuff. Maybe you wanted to say something.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah, I know we are almost there, but just plan your life. I think that's the summary. I just want to drive that point home because Adela has really done really well. Plan your life. It's not difficult. When she was saying some things, I know we might be thinking, oh, this is not possible in Nigerian economy. But I want to share with you that while I was in Nigeria, that was how I lived my life. Every penny is written down. Budget. I put that in the comment section. Create an habit of writing everything down. Know how much is coming in. Know how much is going out. Plan for your children, your health, your at the time I had to do while in Nigeria, I had to do health insurance for my family from the place of work. So it's just well planned. You have to write everything down. Your coffee, your biscuits, your football. I like football. I had to do the subscription. So you have to write it down. If you are a luxury person, you have to cut down some things if they are really, really unnecessary at some point because you go into debt and debt spoils relationship, especially the one you hold friends and family. The moment you start owing friends and family, you are killing relationships. You are creating a bottomless pit for your relationships. So let's try as much as possible to imbibe this. And that budget template, I think we can easily just download them online. As someone said, mine is Suya, 500 naira every day. That's that's massive. I have someone that is and this is sad. It's phone. You know, you buy in the UK or in developed world, you have that. So you can get an iPhone and pay in 3 years. So that's why you see a lot of us use iPhones and all these expensive phones. So you got an iPhone, and after 3 years, they came back and said, oh, there's now iPhone 16. And some people, because of the trend of things, there's nothing wrong with the iPhone 14 you are using. You sell that or pay off that debt after you are done paying and bought another iPhone. You are just increasing debt unknowingly, and it actually doesn't make sense. Questions I ask is, what do I really use this phone for in the first place? Is this something that I can't do without? Is it a technology I have to, you know, chase? Yeah, Adiola, please go ahead. I don't want to overstress this, but I wish it's time for us to start to think about taking charge of your life. Because if you can take charge of your finance, take charge of your budgeting, of your plan, it's like taking charge of your life. It's like taking charge of everything. It's like every day you think about this 5 naira I want to spend, or this 5 naira I want to give this person. What is it going to do to my general planning? And yeah, Adela, please go ahead. I don't want to.
Hey, so
There's a
please,
lot to talk about.
we cannot overemphasize. You would think it doesn't matter, but I want to challenge you. Do that budget. When I did mine, I pitied myself. You know, I
Mm,
was but I don't buy clothes, and it's true. I don't buy clothes. So coming from someone that came from a scarcity, that had a scarcity mindset, that I don't like to go broke, that I love to hoard money. You would never see any luxury stuff, any branded stuff in my house. Gucci, no. I will tell you no. Let me also build my brand so that people can buy Diola when don't let me chase Gucci. So to my mind, I thought I was doing well. But when I charted my spreadsheet, I realized that, oh my God, I actually downloaded my credit report and I realized that I would buy coffee and hash brown, not every day, but maybe 3 times a week. And then sometimes when I'm tired and I feel like I don't want to make dinner, I'll just buy a burger from Burger King. And and I was eating out, and myself and my husband we would eat out. And even though our grocery budget was $500 at that time that I started making this budget, our grocery budget was $500. Guess what? We were spending another $500 between the both of us on eating out and on impulsive giving. I'm talking about impulsive giving. I want to teach us a principle, and that principle is the principle of systemized giving. The reason why I'm telling you this is because, like I said earlier, this was a major thing that almost ruined my finance. Impulsive giving. Oh, I just send the money. I just exchange it. Oh, Lemfi, Western credit. Impulsive giving. No. How about we practice systemized giving? You know, we give in a consistent, strategic, planned manner that maximizes impact and resource allocation. Instead of people calling you, first of all, tell yourself, I cannot save everybody. But who are the people that are most dear to me that I would love to impact? Write them down. I want to be giving my daddy money every month. I want to be giving my mommy money every month. Those are the people that are most dear to me. My siblings, they have their own job. They can let them go and work. But I still want to be giving them money once in a while. You write them down. How much do you want to be giving them? Write it down. And remember, in the first budget that I shared with us, there was a place that talked about giving. So how do you know how much you give? You need to enter it into your budget and say, for this giving, I cannot afford more than 100,000 a month or 100,000 a year. So it is that 100,000 you will now go and put on this second spreadsheet. But I want to show you because this was what I did. So this again, this is not my body. It's an hypothetical situation. Okay. So don't feel threatened. Like, hey, some people are giving 4 million and no, it's an hypothetical situation. Okay. But this is the spirit of what I want us to do. Put every single person down. Mommy, general home expenses. So general home expenses is, you give mommy money, but then they still want to do NEPA. They still want to do something, the soak away that bust, the decking that is leaking, the cutting that tore, general homes expenses. That outside what you're giving them monthly, they would still expect you to do something. So plan at the beginning of the year to say that this year, I don't have more than 4 million to spend. And this is how I'm going to distribute it. Or I don't have more than 400,000 to spare. Or I don't have more than 100,000 to spare in a year. And this is how I want to do it. I want to give my mommy. I want to prioritize my mommy. I want to prioritize this person. I want to prioritize my daddy. I want to prioritize person A, person B, person C. So even though you have a budget of how much? 4 million in this person's case, you want to break it down. So out of the 4 million, I want to give my mommy 360,000. And I want to be giving her 30,000 on a monthly basis. And I want to be giving this person and this person this much money. And I want to be giving them this on a monthly basis. Or I want to give this person this much on a monthly basis. You put that person there. And then you have general. General is Gbogbo. No, they're not really your mommy or your daddy, but there are things that comes up regularly. You cannot predict them, but you sure know something will come up during the course of the year. You put it down. And one thing that I love about this spreadsheet, I did this spreadsheet myself. One thing I love is, so everybody watch this. Even though I have budgeted 360,000 for this person. If the person now say, January, something came up and I'm giving this person 200,000. Okay, let me enter 200,000. You see this red, immediately to fire red for me and tell me, hold up, you have overspent in this category. So immediately, I don't need to wait till the end of the year to figure out how it came to be that I overspent on giving. I already know, right? And so in my mind, I already told them, anything you want from me, make your ask, because I need to do my 3 months budget to see if I can accommodate it. So first of all, there is no impulsive sending money. You have to give me at least 3 months, unless it's an emergency where your life is involved. If it's not an emergency, let me put it on my budget to see how it works. And then this is for the Jane. This is for the, because it is a family budget, right? So this is for Jane, this is for John, and this is for their own joint ventures. So for the joint ventures, let's say they have some general charity, they give pastoral offering, they have this charity they give money to in the year. And you know what? Just put all of it on your spreadsheet and see where you're at. Chances are high that you would have blown that your giving category that you have here. This gift or special location, chances are high that you would have blown it, because there are a bunch of people in the general category that were not accounted for that you have given out money to. So when you plan your money before you spend it, it just helps you say no, because now you know you cannot afford it. The thing is, when people ask you money, you're not airing your budget. You are airing the money they're saying 10,000. But you make it for 10,000 now. But one thing you are failing to realize is that you only need to give 10,000 10 times, and that is 100,000. It's no longer 10,000 naira. And now 100,000 is a big amount of money that you would otherwise have not given out. If somebody had come to you to say, give me 100,000, you would have declined. To say, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have it. But because they are coming to say it's 2,000, it's 5,000, little leakages that adds up, that compounds. So I want us to practice systemic giving instead of impulsive giving. Practice systemic giving that maximizes impact and resource allocation. So because we do not have a lot of time, I wanted to talk about debt management, but I'm not going to talk about debt management now. Maybe I could talk about it in the second session when we're talking business, because it also applies to the business, life too. But I sure want to talk about the 7 baby steps to take control of your money, right? So the first goal, we discussed it, right? Your mindset. The second goal, we discussed it, moving from time to value-based compensation. The third one, commit to do your budget, to chart your cash flow. Then this is the fourth one that I wanted to go through in your own personal time. 7 baby steps to take control of your money. I want everybody to build an emergency fund. So an emergency fund is a bucket of fund that you absolutely must have to live, that you must save for emergency. So let's say, for example, you lose your job and you cannot make money from your income. You may have lost your job, but you still have to pay rent. You still have to buy food. You still have to take your children to school. So even though you have lost your income, your responsibilities are still the same. So you need to save some money down to cover for all of your basic needs now, not wants, not luxury, basic needs, to cover for your basic needs in case an emergency comes up. And the step 1 is, first of all, because you have now done your budget, now you know you need 70% of your income as an emergency fund, right? Now, maybe you cannot save that amount now, but at least commit to saving 50% of your monthly income first. I make 100,000 a month. Okay, I want to first of all save 50,000 and keep it in a separate bank account and call it my starter emergency fund. That is my starter emergency fund. I'm still going to save 3 to 6 months of my expenses in my emergency fund, but I want to save that first starter fund, right? So if your income is 100,000, I want you to divide it by 2, 50,000. I want you to save 50,000 in a starter emergency fund. Research shows that the reason why some people got stuck with loan app is because they had a little emergency and they had no way of getting that money. And now they ran into loan apps. And the 50,000 naira loan they took is now 100,000. This is real, guy. I did a consultation for the family. All they borrowed was 120,000. They were to pay back 390,000. 390,000. Right? This is usury. But then don't put yourself in a position to be taken advantage of. So save 50,000 first. For you, if you earn 100,000 a month, save 50,000. If you earn 200,000 a month, commit to saving 100,000 first and go and put it in an account for a starter emergency fund. After you do that, now try to save for 3 to 6 months, between 3 to 6 months. right? And now buy a term life insurance policy. Because if you have family members relying on your income, you need to be able to protect them. Because yes, people don't like to think we will die early. We pray not to die early. But we've actually seen life deal people a huge blow. They just go like that. They have a headache and they are gone. May God give us long life. So if you know your family relies heavily on your income, you are the breadwinner of your family and they rely heavily on your income, while you are still trying to get out of debt, while you are still trying to pay, do retirement investment, while you're still trying to save for your college, your children's college fund, buy a term life insurance policy. And research shows that you need to buy 10 times your annual income. So if you earn 100,000 a month, that is 120,000 a year. Sorry, 1.2 million a year. So times 10 is 12 million in insurance. I know that the insurance market in Nigeria is still underdeveloped, right? I know that. But at least buy something first. If you can buy a term life insurance policy, buy. Do research. Do they sell term life insurance policy in Nigeria? How much does it go for? Get a quote, buy it. Even if it's 1 million, don't do that 12. Maybe 12 is too much for you. Do 1 million. Do something. Just do something first. Okay? Buy a term life insurance policy. Then pay off all your debt using the debt snowball method. So the debt snowball method is whereby you pay your smallest debt first. It just increases your morale. That's the beauty of the snowball method. It's not the most efficient, but because of human behavior, human psychology, it has been shown to be more effective. Because let's say you owe loan up a money, you own lapo money, you owe your friends money. Okay, what is my smallest debt? My smallest debt is 5,000. Find that 5,000, pay it off, and then move to the next level, the next higher debt. That is the snowball method. And then because you have paid one off, at least if it was 5 people that was calling you, oh no, Odigbese, they will say Odigbese like a debt person, pay my money. At least one person is off that list. If 10 people used to call you before, because now you have committed to paying your debt off. The smallest, start with the smallest. At least that person is off your list, right? So that is what the snowball method means. It means that you list your debt from the highest to the lowest, and then you try to pay the lowest debt first. And after you do that, the next thing you need to do is to invest 10% of your household income in securities and financial market. And you try to balance risk and growth. Don't be too conservative. Some people will say, oh, I don't want to lose money, so they will only keep their money in the bank account. That money is not growing, it is getting devalued because it's not keeping up with inflation rate. Inflation rate in Nigeria is what? The last time I checked, 17%. No bank will give you 17% annual return. No bank. So you've got to put your money where at least it will cover for that inflation and then more. And that is true meaning of growth. So you need to balance risk and growth, not just, oh, I don't want to lose money. I want to be conservative. No, 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 no. You want to be conservative, yet you want growth on your money. So buy bonds, buy treasury bills. But you know what? Buy more than that. Buy index fund, buy mutual funds, buy segregated funds. Go to S&P 500, buy. NASDAQ, buy, right? Diversify. There are this course is not a course where we talk about everything into details, but it's a beginning of conversations. If I wanted to talk about financial market, that would probably take me how many hours again? That's not the goal now, but at least to point you in the right direction so that off this meeting, you can be empowered to research and to say, if I even want to invest in Nigeria, what are the options available to me? Right? I want to get that conversation started. I want to get that thing bubble in our heart. And then save for your children's college fund. When I was growing up as a kid, primary school were good. It was at the point when we started going to university that I started to see that my parents were not rich, that rich. Because now they have to pay tuition for the 5 of us. Going to school and we all have to pay rent. And we were not in the same school, so there was no option to share rooms. So they will pay my rent, they will pay my tuition, pay for my textbook, and I did degree. And there was no college fund saved up for me. So save that as well. And after you have done that, now build wealth, build businesses, and give, bearing in mind that we have covered what giving means. Systemized giving, systemized mercy, not just given impulsively. No, you give the way you're supposed to. And our goal 4 is to do the 7 steps I just discussed. I want you to go from one line to the other and do it, right? Do your goal 1, goal 2, goal 3, and goal 4. Do the 7 baby steps and then do it again and then do it again. See, budget is not something you just do and you keep. You do it all over again, all over again, all over again. You know, I challenge you, do it quarterly first. Quarterly, try to do it quarterly. See where you're at financially. That debt, see where you're at. Is it going up? Is it ballooning? Or are you paying it down? So do the 7 baby steps and do it again and again. And I want to close on this note to say that the dance is the art of many steps becoming one. You see, when they say someone is a beautiful dancer, the person is dancing, bese, jumping with different moves. But at the end of the day, dancing, a dance in its simplest form is a what? Many steps. Combination of many steps. So the dance does not arrive fully formed, just like wealth. Like wealth, like dance, or let me say like dance, wealth does not arrive fully formed. It is built step by step with rhythm, repetition, and resolve. You've got to do all of those 4 goals that we talked about. You've got to do it all over again, again and again. You do it this year, you do it next year. You do it this year, you do it next year. You do it this year, you do it next year. You repeat, you rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. That's how you build wealth. With rhythm, repetition, and resolve, like drops of water forming an ocean. Each step adds to the whole until motion becomes meaning. The dance is not one grand gesture. It's the sum of every practiced move. And Bimni, do you have anything to add?
No, no, not at the moment. Our time is fast spent now. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, and at this point, ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you so much for coming to this our session, and we hope to see you again. We hope it was not a waste of time.
Maybe we should provide some time for questions. If anyone has questions before we round up.
Okay, I will take some questions, and if I cannot finish all of the questions, then we would go over it in the second session. Okay, let me take questions. Thank you for your attention and your time.
Thank you very much. Thank you. This is really insightful. So any question for our facilitators before we round up?
Maybe we should check the charts.
I am checking.
Okay. Okay, in the absence of none, so thank you everyone for joining. So the second session will now be focused on how to start your own business and how to manage the finances of your own business, right? Next week. So thank you very much, everyone, and have a great weekend. Oh, there's one question. Okay.
Okay. Can you just speak?
Yeah, you can just speak, please.
Just try to type. Okay, how do you deal with entitled family members?
Good question.
All right, I will just let me just try to answer that. There is like my slang, it's a slang, and I feel few people should be able to. If you want to be El Shaddai, you will surely die. That's my slang. You can't be you can't be the provider of everyone. You just need to do what you have to do and be nice about it. Then don't give people an over bloated reality of yourself. Don't make people feel you can always meet their need. Because if you do that, they will become entitled. Sometimes entitlement is what some of us cost to ourselves. We give people an opinion that we always solve their problem or we always be the answer to their prayers. Meanwhile, all you could just have done is, oh, I need 10,000. Oh, I can afford to give you 5,000 or 3,000 out of it. Not because you are punishing them, but because if people believe you are the go-to person and they believe you have the money, the day you break their hearts, you'll be in trouble. And then, yeah. I don't know if Adiola have anything to say.
I think I
And
would leave. I think I've done a lot of talking.
yeah,
Let's let the elders also.
okay.
Entitlement, unfortunately, is something that we would always continue to experience.
Yeah.
So Tayo, I believe everybody in this room has experienced entitlement at one point or the other. So anybody can share. Dr. Derino, please share. Tayo, please share. Anybody on this call that wants to share.
I mean, yeah, I experienced them. I think sometimes the mistake we find ourselves in that position because sometimes we turn ourselves to be God in quotes in people's life, and we feel good about it. But I think it's something that we need to be really careful about. And so we should be prepared to say no. When you think that people are crossing the line. One principle I have, with supporting people is if somebody is asking me for their basic need constantly, I cut them off completely. I cut them off. And it's because it means that that person is not actually thinking of a way to bring themselves out of the situation, right? Um, but if it's, oh, I need a little help to help my business, then we are talking. That's make more sense because then it means that person has left the level of just basic need, but they're looking for how to, add value that will replicate itself, and then they'll be less reliant on me. So basically, I think it's better to just have a principle that you don't make yourself a god in people's life and be ready to say no. Thank you.
Any other person? Okay, I would say that everything Taya have said, but to be honest, people that are entitled, they are often people that you cannot cut off. Usually, they are not friends that you can cut off. They are family members that you cannot cut off. You cannot really cut off. For friends, I think everybody kind of gets the gist that maybe I'm just this person friends, but family members just this person is my brother. We were giving birth to in the same house. Isn't his
Yola,
money?
I do. This person is my family too. I do.
Yeah, maybe you were able to do that, but sometimes people can't do it. What do you need to do at that time? You need to have a strong resolve that it's not about you. Whatever they say, it's not about you. Let them call you stingy. I think someplace in the slide, I said it's better for people to call you stingy than for you to be broke. Because at the end of the day, they will only look at it from the lens of what you have given them. Is it more than the 10,000 is giving me? It can't be the 10,000 is giving me on a monthly basis that is ruining his finances. But it could be
Mhm.
because other people that do not have entitled family members, they are able to pull money together, $100, put it in S&P 500. You don't have any S&P 500 because all of these monies are going to entitled family members. So what do you need to do? You need to tell yourself that you cannot truly, even if you cannot solve their financial problems. And you need to be respectful. Don't scream when you're telling them, I'm sorry, I wish I was able to help you at this time. However, in fact, I was even about to call you. You need to start praying for me. In this country where we don't have family, by the time I even tell you, you will even be the one praying for me to say, it will be good. Ada. I will tell you, see, in this country, you have no family member that you can even run to talk, that you can even talk to. In fact, you even need to pray for me. What you're asking of me, I cannot provide. Not because I don't want to, not because I can't give you money, but because I don't have any money to give you. There are two different things, right? It's not as if I can't give. Why can't I? I massage them a little bit. I massage their ego, and I tell them it's not as if I cannot give you money. If I don't give you money, who will I give? Shebi are my brother. Shebi are my sister. Shebi are my cousin. Shebi are my family. Shebi we were born in the same community. Shebi we grew up together. Went to the same primary school. Why won't I give you money? If I don't give you money, who will I give? What is money that I cannot give you? I can even give you more than money. But you see, there is no money that I can give you. I even need you to pray for me. Oh. Things we need to pray for me, and then when they come around and they ask the first time and they ask the second time and they ask the third time, they will stop coming because you have systemized your giving. You already know the people you want to give to anyway, the people that matters to you the most. You see how all of these things are intertwined. So if you know you're already giving to the people that you consider top on your list. No matter what the other people say, is okay. So just be graceful about it. Let them down gently. And by the time you do it the first, the second, the third time, they will get the gist that you are not their bank. If you continue to give them, you are signaling to them that there is more where this came from. I'm your bank. You can always rely on me. I hope I've answered your question.
All right.
Okay.
Okay, in the absence of none, please, do you mind sharing the spreadsheet tool that's on the chat so that people can have it? Somebody asked for it. Um, and also,
Okay.
if you can post on the WhatsApp group as well for Knowledge and Skill Forum.
Okay.
So thank you very much, everyone, for your time. Um, Thank you for joining. And if you would like to join our WhatsApp group, we have a WhatsApp group for our mentorship program. Please, if you're not already a part, please just indicate in the chat. Thank you very much and have a great weekend. Bye.
Right.
It's Tayo. Can you hear me?
Yeah, hello.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, Mr. My name is Adeolu. I've been trying to reach out to you through the WhatsApp group, but I couldn't. Try to send a message, but said it's only the admin that can
Oh, yes.
send it
Okay.
to it.
Okay. Yeah, because people started posting different things that were not that does not relate to the vision of the group.
Oh,
That's
okay.
why.
Yeah,
But you
because
can have access to my number on WhatsApp,
oh,
right? So if you
okay,
go
hold
to
on 1 second. Let me. You wanna put it there, or
if you
let
are
me
on
write
the
it
WhatsApp
down.
group now, I'm part of the you can have access to my contact from there.
Okay, do I need to write it down now, or
No, no, if you go to the WhatsApp group,
okay,
there's a list of people who are a member of the WhatsApp group, right?
okay?
Yeah, my name, you see one of oh, maybe you might okay, it might not come up with
My
my name.
name doesn't show up.
That's
It's
true.
only the numbers just all the way down. That's it. That's the only thing I
Oh,
see.
okay. I think the
That's
number
no
that
name.
shows up is 070
070
63495541.
49
5541.
63495541.
Yeah.
Plus 234 or plus one?
+234.
Plus 234.